In the world of magic, everything that disappears reappears. Whew! It is very good to be back.
The original Four Horsemen have finally reunited, and here's what you need to know. In 2013, the magic-based crime caper Now You See Me was a box office hit, but after a sequel 3 years later, the franchise went dark. It took long enough, but the third installment finally hit theaters on November 14th. And this time, they gave it the name that everyone expected the second one to have. Now You See Me, Now You Don't pairs the heroes that fans of the series have come to love with a new generation of magicians. They'll be pulling off their greatest heist yet. But as always, the Horsemen only steal with the best of intentions.
I'm talking about a trick that is bigger and better than anything you have ever seen.
If there's anything that the Now You See Me trilogy is known for, it's being convoluted. Fortunately, when you break everything down, it's not too hard to understand. Just beware, spoilers ahead for the first two films. Let's start with the eccentric gang of misfits at the center of the saga, the Four Horsemen. Each of them is a master of a different kind of magic, bringing unique skills to the table in their quest to destroy capitalism. Okay, they're not that dramatic, but their favorite pastime is stealing money from corrupt business people and giving it to their fans. Let's start with J. Daniel Atlas. Played by Jesse Eisenberg, Atlas is an illusionist, your classic David Copperfield type. He's an undeniable talent in his field, but it's also given him an ego the size of a skyscraper.
Because no matter what you think you might know, we will always be 1 step, 3 steps, 7 steps ahead of you, and just when you think you're catching up, that's when we'll be right behind you.
Woody Harrelson plays Merritt McKinney, an abrasive yet impressive mentalist and hypnotist. He can pretty much read minds, or at least the closest you can come to it without having actual psychic powers.
Mommy? Daddy. You have big daddy issues.
Merritt also has a tragic backstory. He used to be a successful celebrity until his brother ran off with his fortune. The third horseman is Jack Wilder, a street magician portrayed by Dave Franco. He's not afraid to use his sleight-of-hand abilities to do shady stuff like lockpicking and pickpocketing. He's skilled in hand-to-hand combat and a crack shot when it comes to using playing cards as projectiles, which come in handy more than you might expect.
Really?
Yep.
Finally, there's Isla Fisher as Henley Reeves. She takes after Harry Houdini, putting on elaborate stage shows in which she escapes from deadly traps. She also happens to be Atlas's former assistant, but their history goes a little further than that.
But I was too fat for Danny.
No, I said that one time because of the trap door.
No one could fit through there. No one.
Rebecca fit through. Rebecca fit for years.
Did you?
Those are the Four Horsemen. But wait! There are technically 2 additional horsemen, one of them being the mysterious figure that brings them all together. The last horseman only appears in Now You See Me 2. Since Fisher was pregnant during production on the sequel, she was replaced by Lula May, played by Lizzie Kaplan. She loves offbeat tricks and misdirecting people in gruesome ways.
I'm a huge fan of faking deaths. That was crazy. What is this? Trucker's Hitch?
Yeah.
It's terrible. Embarrassing.
So, how do the Four Horsemen end up joining forces anyway? As it turns out, they don't come up with their Robin Hood act on their own. Somebody's pulling their strings, and it seems to have something to do with a secret society known as the Eye. Dating all the way back to ancient Egypt, the membership of the Eye consists of magic practitioners with a singular shared goal.
Their purpose? Using magic and illusion to even the scales of justice.
The Eye remained steadfast in their goal over the centuries, recruiting the best and brightest magicians into their ranks all the way up to the present. One of their members was a man named Lionel Shrike, who met an unfortunate demise during a failed attempt to escape from a cheaply made safe in the East River. One fateful day, a mysterious hooded individual from the Eye leaves conspicuously placed tarot cards for each of the magicians to find with a date, a time, and a location. They don't know it yet, but they're about to change hundreds of lives for the better, and a couple for much, much worse. 1 year after teaming up, the Horsemen put on a show in Las Vegas, sponsored by insurance magnate Arthur Tressler, and based on blueprints given to them by the Eye. To finish their performance, they promised to do something truly spectacular.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to rob a bank.
After selecting an audience member to take part, the Horsemen put him in what they claim to be a teleportation device and send him to what looks to be the inside of a bank vault in the Crédit Républicain in Paris. They vacuum up 3 million euros and make it rain onto the Vegas crowd. Great illusion, right? There's just one thing. When the bank's employees check the vault minutes later, the money is gone for real. That's when FBI agent Dylan Rhodes gets a call.
What? I don't think I heard you correctly. Did you say magicians?
The feds loop in Interpol agent Alma Dre and bring in the Horsemen for questioning, but they somehow don't have enough evidence to book them. So they turn to Thaddeus Bradley, a TV personality who made a career out of violating the magician's code and debunking performers like Lionel Shrike. Bradley figures out the bank robbery trick immediately. The teleportation device is a cleverly disguised trapdoor that leads to a fake vault underneath, and the Horsemen used Merritt's mentalism techniques to hypnotize and control their supposed volunteer weeks before the show began. But the performance was just misdirection. The money had already been stolen and replaced with counterfeit bills printed on extremely flammable flash paper before it arrived at the bank at all. They used a remote incendiary device to ignite the fakes at just the right time to make it appear that the money had been stolen right out of the vault. That's a hell of a trick, and according to Bradley, there's much more to come.
Really? Can you be any more of a condescending ass?
Yes.
Sure enough, the Horsemen head to New Orleans to execute the second part of their plan. Their show seems normal at first, but things take a turn when Merritt starts guessing the contents of audience members' bank accounts. They invite Tressler on stage, at which point they reveal the true point of their performance: payback. All of the people invited to attend lost something during Hurricane Katrina, and all of them found themselves hung up to dry when they made claims of Tressler insurance. So to set things right, the Horsemen take money directly from his fortune and give it to the people who really deserve it.
It's all for show, correct?
Oh, I mean, we're doing it on stage in front of a paying audience? Then yes, it's for show.
Dylan tries to arrest them, but he's stopped by a dozen audience members that Merritt hypnotized into tackling him football style. This trick is much more simple than the last. All the Horsemen had to do was trick Tressler into telling them the answers to the security questions on his account. He learns 2 valuable lessons that day: don't rip people off, and always turn on 2-factor authentication. Tressler turns to Bradley for help and asks him to expose his former patrons. After making their daring escape, the Horsemen dive into preparations for their big finale until the FBI figures out their location. Jack leads the FBI on a chase through New York City, only for his car to get absolutely wrecked by the median on the Queensboro Bridge and turned into a ball of fire. That's gotta hurt. Using documents that they found in Jack's car, the FBI deduces that the Horsemen's next target is Elkhorn Security, a shady firm in possession of an incredibly valuable safe. But despite their best efforts, the Horsemen are 127 steps ahead as usual. The feds secure the safe, but when they open it, all they find are balloon animals. Classic misdirection.
The question I'd be asking now, Agent Rose, is what happened to the real one?
Meanwhile, the 3 Horsemen are starting their final show in Queens. Unlike their other performances, this one only features a single trick. They jump off the roof and turn into cash, falling onto the cheering audience below. At least that's what it looks like, as they take advantage of the distraction to make their escape. We don't have an explanation for this one. Some of the stuff in this movie might actually just be magic. But even if the magic is real, the cash isn't. So what did happen to the real money? Great question. Bradley gets framed. The Horsemen get their obligatory spinning Times Square shot, and Jack turns out to be alive after all. During a jailhouse visit with Dylan, Bradley tells him that the safe was in the warehouse the whole time, but the Horsemen installed a giant mirror to make the room appear empty, just like the classic disappearing rabbit trick. Bradley also correctly concludes that they faked Jack's crash by switching his car with a decoy. There's just one thing he can't figure out. The Horsemen had to have someone helping them from the shadows. The Brian Epstein to their Beatles, if you will. But who? Dylan knows the answer. It all comes back to Lionel Shrike. The faulty safe that killed him was made by Elkhorn, while Tressler Insurance and Crédit Républicain denied the family's claim. How does Dylan know that? Because Lionel was his dad, and he's the 5th Horseman pulling the strings in service of the Eye.
Oh my God. I did not see that coming. That's impossible.
Yes, the FBI agent on the case turns out to be the one making their entire operation possible. Dylan makes sure to rub the truth in Bradley's face before meeting with the Four Horsemen. When they learn the truth at the Central Park Carousel, they finally get what they've been working towards for the past year.
So welcome. Welcome to the Eye.
It's an unbelievable, outlandish, crazy ending, and honestly, that's why we love it. How do you follow up an act like that? Well, Now You See Me brings a Four Horsemen across the US, Now You See Me 2 sees them embark on a world tour of sorts as they get caught up in the horror of the tech industry. As Dylan continues his day job pretending to investigate the Horsemen at the FBI, Atlas is getting cabin fever, hiding and waiting for another assignment. Instead, he gets Lula May, who breaks into his apartment and asks for a chance to join the Eye. She seems to know everything about the Horsemen, including the fact that Henley left them and him. Thankfully, Atlas doesn't have to wait too long to hear from Dylan once Lula disappears. About half a second, in fact. That's not a coincidence. When he, Merritt, and Jack arrive at the meeting, they learn that Lula was chosen to fill the empty slot. Despite the less than enthused reactions of the other three, they're glad to learn that they're actually going to see some action. Tech company Okta is launching a new cell phone that illegally harvests and sells users' information. So it's the Horsemen's job to take down their CEO, Owen Case. The plan: crash Okta's launch event and expose Case's corruption to the world. Unfortunately, the CEO isn't the one who gets exposed. Merritt manages to hypnotize Case into telling the world that he's a fraud, but an anonymous figure tips off the FBI and counter-crashes the hijacked event. He not only reveals that Jack is alive, but that, for the first time ever, the Horsemen have been out-magicked. They escape the event through a chute on the roof, only to find themselves hypnotized to sleep with strobe lights and deposited in a restaurant on a different continent. As they regain their bearings in Macau, they run into a creepily familiar face, Merritt's twin brother, Chase. He hypnotized Merritt and stole the Horsemen's top secret info, but he's just working for the real mastermind. That would be Walter Mabry, Case's former partner, who lost a lot of money from his investments in Tressa Insurance and faked his own death soon after. Instead of the cash, Walter wants the Horsemen's help stealing a chip from Case that can break into any computer and decrypt any file. Back in America, Dylan escapes arrest but fails to get in touch with the Horsemen. Instead, he gets a call from Bradley, who seems to know a surprising amount about what's going on, despite being in federal lockup. When Dylan goes to meet him, Bradley makes an offer: get him out of jail, and he'll lend a helping hand. After getting some supplies from the world's oldest magic shop and brushing up on their card-throwing skills, the Horsemen head out to steal the chip. But instead of giving it to Walter, they plan to bring it to the Eye. They're let into the secure facility containing the chip under the guise of wanting to bid for it in an upcoming black market auction. Then comes a scene you've probably seen on YouTube Shorts before. The Horsemen steal the chip by attaching it to a playing card and passing it to each other as security pats them down. Dylan tracks down Atlas to a market in Macau and asks for the chip, but the Horsemen are no longer interested in his help. They probably should have been, because Walter immediately shows up and reveals that the representative from the Eye that Atlas was talking to was him the whole time. Before Walter can take the chip, Dylan pushes him out of the way and appears to take it, but it's actually a decoy, giving Atlas a chance to get away. Dylan isn't so lucky. After Walter and his men get their hands on him, they decide to let him die the same way his dad did, by locking him in Lionel Shrag's prototype safe and letting him drown. Yes, that's when Walter reveals his big secret. His father dearest is none other than Arthur Tressler, and they both want nothing more than to see the Horsemen gone for good. They shove Dylan in the safe and drop him into the ocean, forcing him to pull off the escape that his father couldn't. Oh yeah, and Bradley is working for Arthur now. Their next step: eliminate the rest. Once Dylan reunites with his friends, they learn the unfortunate truth that the computer chip in their possession is a fake, so they adjust their plan, recruiting local magic shop purveyors Lee and Boo Boo, who reveal themselves to be members of the Eye. They decide on a grand gambit: make Walter and Arthur think that they have the chip, and that they're going to use it. On New Year's Eve in London, each Horseman stages a solo act that leads to a massive finale. It's not just evil businessmen that are looking to stop them, though. The FBI is also on the case, trying to save face after letting the mole in their ranks get away. After their performances are so rudely interrupted by the villain's approach, the Horsemen are taken by Walter's men, loaded in a truck, and brought to his private plane. After a brutal struggle, the Horsemen get thrown out of the plane, but once again they're multiple steps ahead. Surprise! The plane was always meant to be the final act, and it never actually left the ground. The best part? Millions of people are watching around the world. The Horsemen swapped out Walter's truck driver and misdirected their targets using techniques they forecasted in their earlier acts. So the bad guys get arrested, Jack and Lula get together, and the Horsemen evade the FBI once again. And that's not all. The Horsemen finally get the chance to meet the leader of the Eye, Thaddeus Bradley. As he tells Dylan, he and Lionel weren't rivals, they were partners, at least until everything went horribly wrong. Yes, it's a wild twist, but it wouldn't be a Now You See Me movie without it. It took long enough, but Bradley ended up being right about the Horsemen re-emerging. In Now You See Me, Now You Don't, it's revealed that the group broke up when things got tough. But now, the original quartet has to return for their biggest mission yet. But they can't do it on their own. To pull it off, they'll need some fresh blood.
Charlie, June, and Bozo.
It's Bosco Leroy.
What did you type fictional magician name into ChatGPT?
Justice Smith, Ariana Greenblatt, and Dominic Caesar join the cast, teaming up with the Horsemen as they work to take down their newest target, the Vanderberg family. Led by the criminal mastermind Veronica Vanderberg, they sold diamonds to some of the most evil people in the world as part of a massive money laundering operation.
You enjoying the show?
Shall we get on with it?
That's not all. Just as he promised, Thaddeus Bradley returns to lead the Horsemen on their mission. Conspicuously absent from the marketing of the film is Dylan Rhodes, but you can expect to see him make some kind of appearance. No promises about Lula May, though. There's a lot we still don't know about Now You See Me, Now You Don't before its release, but one thing's for sure, there'll be some truly ludicrous twists. Does one of the Horsemen end up being a surprise villain? Is Atlas actually dead the whole time? Probably not that last one, but if the film has anything close to a straightforward narrative, that'll be the biggest shock of all.
Upside down room. Cool.
Cool? Is nothing impressive to you?